Greetings on this appropriate and rather glorious sun day. Now if you look, you can see it's lovely blue skies, and hopefully we'll get that in the camera. There's the sun and not a chemtrail in sight. I had a restless night because I had spiritual downloads coming through, but this is why I'm making this video. This is information to share, and it's also about time we put this whole heliocentric idea of this solar system once and truly to bed, because it is a lie. It started with Nicholas Copernicus. Now you've got the word Nick, as in old Nick, contained there twice. Now I touched on the previous video about this so-called Planet X, or Nibiru, as it is sometimes called, which I cannot help but notice how similar and yet probably so opposite it is to the word Hebrew or Hiberu. And what is a Hebrew? Is it a brew or a concoction of just purely masculine? Because it would certainly fit in with this women-hating cult that seems to underpin all religions and life in general, come to that. And then you think about the heliocentric model. I mean, again, you have he and Leo. Leo the lion or Leo the liar. Because again, that seems to be a twist on the truth. I think the answer is actually, like so much else on this journey of discovery, you go within. And what about the universe within? The sun, or the soul, clearly is the soul, the light within us. This is where you get the term Israelites, because they is real lights. Nothing to do with people in the Middle East whatsoever. It's not exclusive to one group of people. And what is real, what is the real? It is the King's Highway. Now it depends what you want to see as the king. Do you want to see that as source, or do you want to see it as one of these lower ranking gods? So we go through these so-called planets, these wandering stars. It's ironic, a lot of young children will have a nightlight, their own moon in their room, and the irony of that is, with these mobiles, it is a projection onto a ceiling of all sorts of different things, but the light source is from a central point below. It's reflected, it's projected onto a ceiling. Just think of the word ceiling. There's two ways of spelling that. You can spell it C-E-I-L, or you can spell it S-E-A-L. And you can see all as well. So you have Mercury. Now the first two letters of that is M-E. Now I've said before about the M-E, that is the individual me, the soul, within each and every one of us. It also contains mer, which is the French word for the sea, and we are vessels of water, and we can drown in a sea of lies also. Then you have Venus. Now Venus is very interesting because it is V-E, and it's also Nus, which is sun backwards. It shares the same spelling with Uranus. Now if you think about this, within the female body you have a Venus and a Uranus. They're two lower entry points. Within the masculine you don't have the Venus, you only have the anus, the Uranus. Next, and at the centre of everything, is the heart, which is an anagram of Earth. It is also the centre point between two torus fields, the earthing point where the two torus fields meet, which spreads out as a flat disk. And this is what all these things are really. I mean, Egyptians talk about the solar disk, the sun disk. It's not some ball in the sky. There's no way of even perceiving that with a telescope or the human eye, that it's a ball. Everything just appears circular, or if you've got a very good telescope, they actually appear as flickering lights of plasma. They're not even circular. So next we come to Mars. Now Mars has, like everything else, it has a dualistic nature to it, because it can be seen as Mary or Maria, which is area. It is also the bringer of war in its masculine form, this so-called red planet, which again, if you look through a telescope, is not actually red at all. It's also Mars, it's also Ram, it's Aries. It's where the sun rises in Aries. This is to do with this secret of Aries, this fake sun worship, trying to set that up as being God, as opposed to the original source creator of everything. Next you have Jupiter. Now this could be said in several ways. It could be Jupiter. It is also Petra. It is also the rock. It is also the bringer of jollity, of fun, of laughter. Now that could be in two ways. It could be sadistic laughter. It could be pleasurable laughter. Is a duality to that in itself. Next we have number 7, which is Saturn, Chronos, Old Father Time, Satan. Then you have Saturnalia, Satan a liar. It's very much associated with time, being Old Father Time, the chronology, the Chronos. But what about the other two beyond that? You have Uranus, which is the magician. Couldn't be further from the sun, could it? From the light. It's in the darkness. And beyond that, you also have Neptune. Nepotism has its origins in the papal, and it is also about giving favourable positions to family members and things, or to maybe to secret brotherhoods perhaps. So it's funny how Dracula is always referred to as the Prince of Darkness, never the King of Darkness. So that in itself should give you a clue that there is something beyond. Because darkness will not want to come out into the light. It is a series of masks that it hides behind, which is why I said on the last video that it is these demonic and dark that are the Hu men, the Hu men. We are the gods and goddesses. We are the souls, the solar, the Ra, the soul inside each and every one of us. So this is where this whole heliocentric idea came from. But just like with the earth, the sun revolves around it. Well, maybe our soul revolves around our heart in one form or another. Because if you do things from the heart, then surely it is coming from your soul as well, all in one. There's a few things there, and I've scribbled a few more notes down. It's funny that this is Unlocking the Matrix video number 21, because what are we playing here? Are we playing a game with the words? Are we playing pontoon? Are you going to beat the banker? Are we going to pay 21s? 2 creates 1. There's 2 ways of looking at that. We can go with the Masonic equilibrium, which is bringing 2 together to fuse together to make 1, a unisex. This is what this whole transgenderism is all about. Or you can have 2 parts that create a third, something new. That is creation. So when we talk about the fallen, now it's fall and N. N is associated with a name for a lord or a god. So it's the lord that falls. Now, something that is left to rest, that you don't grow anything on, is fallow. You fall low. And as they change the vowels, they foul words with vowels, with the spelling. You can be you can follow from fallow, which means you are not doing things for yourself. You're entrusting it, what you believe in, and the direction you take, into something else. So yes, that's pretty much everything covered. So I hope that will help answer some of these things. I mean, I would seriously recommend that you look at the videos that show the high-powered cameras like the Nikon P1000, the Nikon P900 and telescopes, and look at these stars in genuine footage, and you'll see they are nothing like the CGI of NASA. See, people will often ask what is the whole purpose of NASA and the like, and this heliocentric model. Well, you've only got to look at, from the religious point of view, if you have this God that created everything, that this scientism is actually taking it a step further and divorcing you from that source, because they're taking it the step that we are just a random spinning ball that has life just by a series random of chances. One final point as well I will make about this Nibiru: maybe it is not what people think at all. Maybe it brings about destruction, and out of this destruction comes a new creation, because it doesn't like what it sees when it comes round to have a look. Maybe Nibiru is actually Source itself. And it's interesting that it's said to come round every 3,600 years, because that is also the sum of 9 again, and it is a number very much associated with sacred geometry. That's another whole aspect to it to look into. So I'm just giving you pointers and things here. I'm not expecting you to believe anything I say. I'm just pointing out different things. But it's very interesting. We have 7 chakras, or energy centers, within the body, which encompasses 7 out of these 9. Now 8 is a number associated with infinity. 9 seems to be final on this decimated decimal numbering system. Because it's funny, because time is the 6012 Sumerian system. It's not a decimal system at all. So that's another aspect to look into, and it's why we don't have these rounded up numbers in tens exactly. Just look at geometry. They all come to the sum of 9, not to the sum of 10, because 0 is nothing. But it is also whole as well, which is also where you get this saying about to know everything is to know nothing, and to know nothing is to know everything. 0 is nothing, and it is also whole, quite literally. So I'll leave that there, and I wish you all a pleasant day. Thank you.